Is your life just one task after another? Is there any point? Any meaning? Any purpose? Is there something greater? Maybe. But what is it?
Floor 3.
Will I, or you, or anyone, actually find it?
From Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 12 to chapter 2 verse 11.
I, the teacher, was king over Israel in Jerusalem. I applied my mind to study and to explore by wisdom all that is done under heaven. What a heavy burden God has laid on humankind. I have seen all the things that are done under the sun. All of them are meaningless, a chasing after the wind. What is crooked cannot be straightened. What is lacking cannot be counted. I said to myself, "Look, I have increased in wisdom more than anyone who has ruled over Jerusalem before me. I have experienced much of wisdom and knowledge." Then I applied myself to the understanding of wisdom, and also of madness and folly. But I learned that this too is a chasing after the wind. For with much wisdom comes much sorrow. The more knowledge, the more grief. I said to myself, "Come now, I will test you with pleasure to find out what is good." But that also proved to be meaningless. Laughter, I said, is madness, and what does pleasure accomplish? I tried cheering myself with wine and embracing folly, my mind still guiding me with wisdom. I wanted to see what was good for people to do under the heavens during the few days of their lives. I undertook great projects. I built houses for myself and planted vineyards. I made gardens and parks and planted all kinds of fruit trees in them. I made reservoirs to water groves of flourishing trees. I bought male and female slaves and had other slaves who were born in my house. I also owned more herds and flocks than anyone in Jerusalem before me. I amassed silver and gold for myself and the treasure of kings and provinces. I acquired male and female singers and a harem as well, the delights of the human heart. I became greater by far than anyone in Jerusalem before me. In all this, my wisdom stayed with me. I denied myself nothing my eyes desired. I refused my heart no pleasure. My heart took delight in all my labor, and this was the reward for all my toil. Yet when I surveyed all that my hands had done and what I had toiled to achieve, everything was meaningless, a chasing after the wind. Nothing was gained under the sun.
Life's great riddle. People are searching for purpose and meaning in life. Albert Camus, the French novelist, essayist, and playwright, said, "Man cannot live without meaning." The writer of Ecclesiastes, in the shoes of the great king Solomon, 3,000 years ago, speaks about the search for meaning without God. He looks at 3 secular philosophies by which many still live their lives today. First, enlightenment. He searches for wisdom and knowledge. There's nothing wrong with this. Indeed, reason and science are vital and complementary to the Christian faith. But they only answer the questions when and how, not the who and why. To seek knowledge apart from God can only be chasing after the wind. True wisdom is found in a relationship with God through Jesus Christ. The Apostle Paul tells us that in him are hidden all the treasures of wisdom and knowledge. Second, enjoyment. Hedonism is the doctrine that pleasure is the highest good and purpose of humanity. It can be a form of escapism. The writer tries laughter. There's nothing wrong with that, but it does not provide meaning. He tries stimulants, just as many try to escape through alcohol or drugs today. Then he tries music, then sexual pleasure. In fact, Solomon had 700 wives and 300 mistresses. Yet all this still did not satisfy. Stephen Covey, in his book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, sums up the futile pursuit of pleasure. Innocent pleasures in moderation can provide relaxation for the body and mind and can foster family and other relationships. But pleasure per se offers no deep, lasting satisfaction or sense of fulfillment. The pleasure-centered person, too soon bored with each succeeding level of fun, constantly cries for more and more. So the next new pleasure has to be bigger and better, more exciting, with a bigger high. A person in this state becomes almost entirely narcissistic, interpreting all of life in terms of the pleasure it provides to the self here and now. The more you seek pleasure, the less you find it. True joy and pleasure are found in a relationship with God. As the psalmist writes, "You fill me with joy in your presence, with eternal pleasures at your right hand." Third, enrichment. Materialism is a tendency to prefer material possessions to spiritual values. In his search for meaning, the writer tries building projects, houses, having a large staff team, possessions, money, greatness, success, and fame, work and career. Yet none of this satisfies. Enrichment is to be found not in materialism, but in Jesus. The Apostle Paul discovered for himself that everything else was rubbish compared to Jesus Christ. He wrote, "Whatever was to my profit, I now consider loss for the sake of Christ. What is more, I consider everything a loss compared to the surpassing greatness of knowing Christ Jesus, my Lord, for whose sake I've lost all things. I consider them rubbish, that I may gain Christ." The Old Testament book of Ecclesiastes raises questions that the New Testament answers. Meaning and purpose are not to be found under the sun, S-U-N, but in the Son, S-O-N. If you seek enlightenment, enjoyment, and enrichment for and by themselves, they will be as elusive as the wind. You'll never find them. But if you seek God, you'll find them all. Jesus said, "Seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well." What are your goals in life? Why not decide today to make your first ambition his kingdom and his righteousness? Then you will find true wisdom, solid joy, and lasting riches. As you seek to pursue Jesus above all else, I invite you to speak to him in the words of Richard of Chichester. "O most merciful Redeemer, friend and brother, may we know you more clearly, love you more dearly, and follow you more nearly, day by day."